Guys, it's Friday. Welcome to the end of your week. Well done. And if you're going to be working this weekend, thank you for keeping the world spinning around. You do a lot for us and we appreciate it. If you want to do a lot for me, head over to Composite Games and use the promo code Northern Exile down below to get yourself 5% off at checkout. Whatever you spend there goes towards helping out the channel. Let's get into it, shall we? I had no idea the music would be that loud. Right in my ears. Lovely. Hobby Nightmares time. Frederick says, "Hi North, I've got a story about my first tournament experience." Oh god, here we go. Nothing over the top, just one particularly smug player. It was a fun Halloween doubles tournament, with each player allotted 1,000 points each in their competitive format. Prizes were raffle-based for things like wearing a costume and getting your opponents to fail morale/fear tests. I'm guessing, this is North talking, I'm guessing this is a non-serious tournament, which is my kind of thing. This would be my thing. I would happily concede an entire battle to somebody wearing an Inquisitor cosplay, but even before we start. I'd be like, yeah, we can fight it, but you've won this one, man. You know? Brotherhood. Should be more of it in the hobby. Let's move on. I was running my word bearers and brought the firepower in the form of a Vindicator and a single Obliterator, which I'm glad I brought seeing the other lists, as well as the close combat with Possessed and Chainsword Marines. Lovely stuff. My buddy had his 1,000 sons, hence he had all of the psychic stuff. Anyway, we're halfway through the first match playing against Demons and Chaos Knights when I get to drop my Obliterator in. I'd never used this unit before, so I was unaware I could only use one weapon profile, so I proceeded to fire with both into a squad of Bloodletters, only killing one or two. Fair enough. Mistakes are made, you know what I mean? Like mistakes are made in the hobby, and if they don't, affect the outcome of the entire game, who cares, you know? We'll lose that match, no harm, no foul. We're sitting next to each other eating lunch, when the Chaos Knight player, we'll call him Mr. Smug, matter-of-factly informs me that I was only supposed to use one shooting profile at a time. I had no problem with him informing me of this, as I'd like to get my rules right, but he delivered the news to me in a smug tone, as if he'd caught a cheater and still beat me before walking away. It irritated me, as it was not my intention. Yeah, man, you will get people like that. There are seriously people in the world who like kicking people when they're down. It's the lowest form of anything. It's bully behaviour. I hate it, but it is what it is. My buddy and I just looked at each other and shook our heads as we went back to eating. Fast forward to the end of the day, we just walked around watching the other games, since we were, by that time, just waiting around for the prize raffle, when my buddy walks up, chuckling, telling me Mr. Smug had punched the gaming table since he'd damn near been tabled first turn of his third game by an Eldar player that took all three of his war dogs / small knights out in the first turn. He still ended up getting the win for his team in the end, and going back to being smug and bragging. He's still off putting, but he's gotten much more humble since then, and is now playing Chaos Marines. Figured I'd share my first hobby nightmare with you. On the plus side, I won an Age of Sigmar Dominion box, which rekindled my interest in my Stormcast that I was about to trade off, and finally got my buddy to come over to the fantasy holdout camp. Thanks for reading this long-winded story. Not long-winded, lovely, brilliant. I always like it when people learn the error of their ways, but to be honest with you, man, this is the kind of behaviour that really sticks in my craw when it comes to the hobby. I don't think there's any excuse to sort of... If you catch another player doing something that's not right, say it there and then, but if you then win the game, then double-check something, and they got it wrong, don't say anything, you know what I mean? Or, if you do, then just say, hey man, just for next time, this rule doesn't go with this, blah, 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 just for next time. That sort of a thing. If you're going to do it that way. But to be honest with you, if I've won a game, I don't want to rub salt into the wound of the person who just lost by saying, oh, by the way, you were doing your rules wrong, and so I should have won by even more. Do you know what I mean? That's how it comes across. So I think this is the only time in the hobby where you really just shouldn't help. Like, if somebody hasn't gotten their rules quite right, and you've won the game anyway, and it was giving them an advantage, don't take that away from them. Just just leave it. Just leave it, you know. It's the only time I would say when help doesn't help, you know. They've lost the game, especially if they're feeling quite sore about it, or they're just trying to get on with their day afterwards and forget about it. Yeah, just leave them alone. I know it sounds weird, because I know if you got your rules wrong, you'd want somebody to help you out, which is fair enough. But at the same time, there's a time and a place, you know, time and a place. And if you've just beaten somebody, that's probably not the best time to give them hobby advice on what they did wrong. Especially if what they did wrong meant that they would have lost by even more if they weren't getting it wrong, you know? That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. It wouldn't go down well with me anyway. If somebody beat me, fair and square, you know, and then they came over saying, oh, by the way, this rule, and this rule were wrong, and we're giving you an unfair advantage. I think that guy was a bit of a douche. I'm going to be honest. I think he was a bit of a douche. Maybe me being, you know, thin-skinned or whatever, but, you know, I just think there's a time and a place, and that time probably isn't after I've just lost the game of Warhammer 40,000 to start giving me advice and wagging your finger at me, you know what I mean? You would have to be doing it in a very, very, very sincere and nice way, and our game that we just had would have had to have been very good for you to be able to give me a talk like that after I've just lost the game of Warhammer 40,000, right? It just, you know, winning doesn't matter that much to me, but, like, etiquette does, do you know what I mean? So, if we've had an amazing game of 40k, then yeah, you know, come over and say your piece. But if we haven't, and it's been an average game, yeah, just leave me alone. Like, if you've won, fair enough, and we'll agree to play another time, I'll head off and do my own thing. Don't then come over to me and say, oh, by the way, you did these, like, 3 rules wrong. They give you an unfair advantage. That's just going to make the guy feel so shitty for losing a game of 40k. That's just my opinion, you know? Anyway, moving on. Box the Box says, hey North, I have a tale of sheer arrogance for you coming from my local hobby store, and I warn you, it's a bit of an anger stirrer. Okay. I've been at the local store for something like 5 years. I work in engineering and love my job. That's me, by the way, my own video telling me it's going to upload soon. Very nice. I work in engineering and love my job tinkering with cool things all day to get them working again. It also means in my downtime, I was always looking for something artistic to set the balance again, and when I found 40k, let's just say I was hooked. I never looked back. I live in an inner city area, and as such the hobby store is constantly busy, which is a blessing and a curse. You see, we have a few that guys patrolling the store. Oh God. You know the ones. Always happy to give opinions even when not asked for them. Armchair generals ridiculing the work of others on the tabletop. Having a go at everybody for not having the latest greatest models, but whining about meta chasers, quote unquote, whenever they are beaten by an army. Those types, yeah. I think we've all seen those types in a hobby store. That last type I've come across a lot in my time. Like, a lot. Like, that last type of, you know, God, why don't you get like the latest, greatest stuff? You know, you're always lagging behind. You know that model sucks. You know, why have you done that? Why have you done this? Because it looks cool. I don't care. It's not the meta. What you won? Oh, what a meta chasing fanny. You know, why are you doing that? It just, you can never win with these people. You can never win with these people. So don't try. Just silently win games and drink the tears. Best thing to do. Win the games, drink the tears, move on. I recently started collecting Leagues of Catan, as I loved the aesthetic and wanted to make my league full of engineers just like me. So I went ahead and did that. I generally picked models I thought looked the coolest and started painting. They do look really cool, to be fair. I do like the Leagues of Catan. Whilst in the store, I was sitting there painting my Hearthguard when a meaty fist starts knocking on the table beside my face as I am leant down, concentrating. Obviously looking to get my attention, but startling me all the same. It's Jason. A 6'4", clearly overweight and smelly excuse for a bloke wearing a Megadeth t-shirt. I love Meg, but still, I've seen this pattern before. Yeah, I think we all have. He looks down at my models and points to the metalwork. No oil on the metal. Get good, scrub. Okay, I say. He shrugs and walks off. Dude, seriously? So you go over and rudely rap your knuckles on the table next to the guy's face when he's leaning down trying to paint, just to tell him he hasn't put oil on his metal parts yet. I'm sure we've all come across this guy before. To be fair, it depends how short your fuse is. Like for me, I'd probably give exactly the same response, like okay, and like let him know he's annoying you by doing that. I wouldn't like have a go at him, but my God, this is like a faux pas. This is a big faux pas, especially if you're 6'4". Don't do things like this. Don't try and intimidate people. Get a life. What a pussy. I have no idea why, but this really fucked me off and got me angry. It was not the last time this occurred either, but I will skip ahead to the main event. Weeks pass, and I have my models almost done. So, I am looking over the store for something else to buy, when I look back to my models to see Jason standing there with my Sagittor tank in his meaty hands, looking at it very closely. My God. Is nothing sacred to these people? Is nothing sacred to these people? Don't pick up another person's models without fucking asking. How many times do we say it in these stories? Don't do it. It's not yours. Put it down. People work hard on these things. Don't pick them up without asking. Just don't. Just don't. I would rather somebody like groped me in the store, right? Because at least then I'd laugh and go, "What are you doing, dude? Get the fuck away," right? Than somebody pick up my models. Honestly, I'm being honest. I'd probably kind of enjoy it, to be fair. But like, I'm being honest. I'd rather somebody did that to me than pick up one of my models without me asking. It would just fuck me off. So I just... Sorry, I've been reading this story. That's why I'm adopting this language. I should like tone down my swearing a little bit. But anyway. Oh, I just can't... Leave it alone, dude. It's not yours. What are you, 5? I walk over and say, "Dude, do you mind not picking up my models without asking?" He looks up at me with a smarmy grin. "No, I don't mind." Oh my God, slap him. Slap him. Get him in the fucking sea. Put him in a bin. Staple the bin shut. And roll it into the sea. Just roll it into the sea. Push it out there. If he lived near mine, he'd be on his way to Ireland by now. The long way. He says, "Fancy a game?" and points towards the gaming table. My God, don't do it, man. Don't do it. Don't do it. You know how this is going to go. Now, I know Jason plays for blood. But I also know how angry he gets when he doesn't get an instant pushover win in any game. Knowing Leagues of Catan are very good at the moment, I accept. Oh God. I play like I normally do. Badly. I've never been that into gaming, or the gaming side of 40k, but to be honest, I know my rules, just in case I meet somebody cool to play with. He plays a full Leviathan build Tyranid list. Of course he does. Of course he does. That apparently has won tournaments in the past. But the Tyranid secondaries are generally quite weak. Yes, they are. These are objectives you win during the game for doing certain things that you draw from a deck. If any of you do not know and are interested. Yeah, so in 40k you have primaries, which are on the tabletop, so you've got to go and pick those up. Those are like capture points, you know, for your army to go and get, if you don't know. And secondaries are the ones that you draw from a deck of cards, essentially. So it says, assassinate, kill the enemy warlord, and you get 3 D3 victory points, whatever. That kind of a thing. Okay. My Votan wandered up the table and traded with his Tyranids, picking up secondaries as we went. Throughout the game, when I went to move something, he would say things to put me off. Just snide remarks about my playstyle in general, and trying to goad me into mistakes. I took the bait on none of it, until I finally went to move my Sagittor, and he said, "I wouldn't do that." At this point, I rolled my eyes, looked up at him and said, Of course you wouldn't, mate. That's why you're losing by 20 points. Oh, sick. Sick burn. Like it. Okay. This was the top of turn 4, and his face was going beet red. Well, to cut a long story short, he finally tabled me at the top of turn 6, that we rolled for. In any other game, I would have beaten him, as most games finish at turn 5, as you know. He had spent the entire game getting pissy and wound up whenever things didn't go exactly his way. A few of the lads came over and looked at the points. It was 67 points to me and 35 to him. An abysmal showing for him in terms of points. Wow, that is a battering. That is a battering. A few of the hobby guys said I actually won, because tabling an opponent does not guarantee a win anymore in 40k. I did not know this. Jason hit the roof. He wagged his finger at them and told me they were always onto him as he beat them every week, and they simply couldn't take it. To which I said, "Dude, you're like what, 40? If the win means that much to you, just take it, no worries." Oh, Jesus. He says, "I am 27, he exclaims. That's hilarious. "I am 27, he exclaims, and never call me dude." Oh my God. The whole store goes quiet, and, honestly puzzled, as this guy is clearly a man, as in man, beard and everything, I ask, why? One of the hobbyists on the painting table, a skinny but well-dressed bloke with glasses, without looking up from his painting, says, "Because it is a they, apparently." Oh no. Oh my God. "Don't get smart, Kevin, you fucking phobe," shouts Jason, packing away his things. I hold my hands up and start packing away my stuff, head back to my table and sit down. It remains the last game of 40k I've played, and I have not brought myself to answer a challenge since. As I have Leagues of Votan as my main army, a lot of folks want to test their luck against the new big boys on the block. How do I get over this and back into the game? Cheers, box to box. Okay, man. Number 1, that was hilarious, so thank you. Number 2, alright, so it's going to be the most obvious piece of advice I've probably given in a long time. But the only way you get over it, man, is by getting over it. And by that, what I mean is, you need to realise that not many people, and you should know from our stories, by the way, that not many people are like this Jason. Most people in the hobby are not this way inclined. In fact, a good 95% of the people, I would say, in the hobby are going to give you a damn good game on most days of the week. Unless they're having a really bad day, then they'll be a bit off their game, but still. So, that's just what I do, man. Like, only accept challenges from people you think are going to be cool. And if that's most people, great. And if they're dicks, don't play them again. To be in the gaming part of 40k, which you clearly aren't, right? So you're clearly a painter and somebody who does the models. A skill in 40k is finding when not to waste your time. It's picking your opponent and making sure that you do it well. Now, what I mean by that is that you will always play somebody once, unless you've seen behaviour that you don't like from them before, then simply decline the game, right? But if you've never met this person before, and they look like a well-adjusted person, and they say, "Hey, do you fancy a game of 40k?" There's nothing wrong with just saying, "Yeah, sure, man," and getting on the tabletop and rolling some dice. No problem with that at all, right? You should be completely fine with that. And if they let you down, then don't go back to them again. Then is their one and only game time with you. You've wasted enough time on them, move on. I'm afraid it is a risk-reward scenario when it comes to your time. Our hobby time is precious. We all have things going on in our lives, and so what you need to understand is, whenever you're giving this time to another person, you're giving away a very precious commodity, right? It's the same thing I say to women all the time whenever I get a message about, you know, my dude's doing this and I don't like it, or my dude's doing that and I don't like it. Well, the thing is, right, your commodity as you know, a lady is your affection, right? As a girl is your affection. A man's commodity is his time. Our time is very, very, very precious to us because we don't get that much of it, right? We need to make sure. And, you know, women who work 9 to 5, time is also your commodity. As soon as you're working and you're the main breadwinner, time is your commodity. It's the one thing that you have that's very, very, very precious to you. Hobby time is even more precious. So you need to work out when you want to give it away and when you don't. I would give it away, if I want to do the gaming side of the hobby, I would give it away to anybody who asks, who seems like a well-adjusted and nice person. If I'm not really into the gaming side of the hobby anyway, I would cherry-pick my opponents. Sounds like that's what you're doing anyway. But it also sounds like you've been turned off by this one guy. Don't let that be the case. You may be missing out on really cool games. If you have the energy and you don't have the painting to do, and you're in the hobby store with your army, as soon as somebody who is nice, who is respectful, comes up to you and asks you for a game, go and play a game of Warhammer 40,000 with them. Make yourself do it. Give that person some of your time. And most people in the hobby will repay that time in kind by giving you a good game that you'll remember for a long time. Trust me on this. Trust me on this. Go and do it. I don't often say this, but trust me on this. Go and do it. Go and have fun. Right? Got my permission. Got my permission. Go and have fun. Go. Have fun. Right? Cool. Anyway, hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I may be back on Sunday. In fact, I probably will be for the Q&A. Yeah, I've gotten some more questions. We'll see. See how busy the weekend is. Love you all a long time. I will speak to you over the weekend. Have a wonderful rest of your Friday. Congratulations. End of the week. Go and have a beer on me. See ya. Bye.